And finally tonight, a look at what the American dream means. It's part of a Detroit Public Television initiative to tell people's stories as they navigate opportunity, meet obstacles, and try to achieve the American dream in our country today.
I was born and raised in Detroit. I went to all Detroit public schools. When I actually started school, I didn't speak any English. My mom was pregnant with me on the airplane ride from Palestine to the United States. I think my American dream, thinking about my parents who were born in Palestine and just the struggles that they had, and the fact that they can see me succeed, the fact that my grandmother, who is illiterate, can see her granddaughter graduate from college and from law school. It's always been about them and making sure that their sacrifice was worth it. Every time there was ever a sense of not belonging or the sense of the fact that I knew I was different when I went to a predominantly African American or Latino school, my grandfather, he would say that no matter what, you always have to fight for what belongs to you, and that includes your culture and who you are. So there was always this kind of strength in his voice and his experience that resonated so much of me growing up in Detroit. It's the experience that I had that created this kind of strength to have the courage to run for office, is this sense of injustice and kind of feeling like I have to do something about it. My dad was more like, no one's going to vote for you after 9/11.
The Speaker recognizes Representative Tlaib.
I was shocked, as everybody else was, that I actually won. I worked hard, even though people were getting in their mailboxes reminding them I was Arab and Muslim.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I was at a committee, and out of the blue, my chairman asks for my birth certificate, proof that I was an American-born citizen, and as a joke. And even though the audience gasped, people were so silent about it. Nobody called him out on it. Nobody held him accountable for saying something to me was so un-American of him. It's so personal and very emotional for me. It took this cartoon in USA Today depicting Muslims as Nazis. I looked at this and I said, my God, people are going to see this and they're going to want to kill us. And I was talking to my husband in our bedroom, not knowing, who was listening. If USA Today can publish something so hateful, and my son walked into the door, and Adam looks at me and says, Mama, don't worry. If anybody ever asks if I'm Muslim, I'll lie and tell them I'm not. And I paused. Of course, I cried. I had a long conversation with him the next day. And for me, that was a sign that I needed to work on Take on Hate. One of the things that came up last year was folks wanted me to come and run a racial justice campaign called the Campaign to Take on Hate. And I hesitated because it's exhausting working on any racial justice work.
The word hate is strong.
I know. Actually, the older folks that are older than me are like, that's so combative, can't we say take on love? And I said, we thought about that, and we think this really gets to the center of what we're trying to combat.
One more, 1, 2, 3, cheese.
And that's what we struggle with. I mean, Campaign to Take on Hate, although we're on campuses and local schools and we're trying to teach folks more about who we are, we're also teaching folks that do know to speak up and not be silent. We think that when you're silent, when you're not saying anything, it's almost like you're condoning and allowing it to grow.
Outside, hundreds of people, many if not all of them, against the mosque development.
It was a mosque moving from a neighboring city into Sterling Heights, and the opposition was tremendous. I've never seen anything like it.
We see them at the shopping around here in Sterling Heights. Can we prohibit this? Can we make a law against this?
They're cutting people's heads off. They killed our soldiers and everything.
We do not need this in our city. Pick another one.
It was bizarre because those are things that you kind of see on TV and movies, and it was actually happening right here in our backyard. It was very, very hateful. Like, go back home. This is my home. Where am I going to go?
Should a president's faith matter? Should your faith matter to voters?
And it's hardest when you hear Ben Carson, running for president and saying he doesn't believe somebody of Muslim faith should ever become president of the United States. So basically you're saying my sons should never ever even dream of the possibility. To hear that, I mean, it was so painful. He came from the same neighborhood as I did. This is a man that went to the same high school as I did. I remember being, I think it was 15, 16 years old, walking out of the gymnasium at Southwestern High, inspired and empowered. I can succeed like him. It doesn't matter that I'm poor, because he was poor. I've been to Palestine and I've been to other countries, and there's nothing like this kind of feeling that you have in our country, this kind of freedom. In some countries, you have to be a certain faith to be a citizen of that country. There is no German dream, there's no Canadian dream, there's only the American dream. Now I can kind of see this great need and desire to see that in my children, that they succeed and they continue not only embracing their culture as Arab Americans, but also being free and proud of their faith as Muslims.
What dreams do you chase? Share your dream at redreamproject.org.